Hi everyone, my name's Rachel and I'm going to give you some tips about how to revise for social subjects and languages and what the best things to do are in my opinion. The first tip that I would have is find an environment that works for you. So some people like to revise at a desk, some people like to revise in their kitchen, at the table. Just find an environment where you're comfortable and where you're free of distractions. The second thing is to just start. It sounds really silly, but the hardest part of revising is actually sitting down and starting. So if you're thinking about it, the most difficult thing will be to get your book out and start reading or start writing. So when you're thinking about it, just try your best to just go for it. The third thing, and my favourite revision technique, is mind maps. Whether this is to remember key terms or key statistics or quotes, it is one of my favourite ways of revising because I'm a visual learner. So if you like looking at things that are neatly organised and highlighted, and that's how you learn, then mind maps are a really good technique to use. When you're revising an essay or a practice question, whatever it is really best to write it. So unless you get ICT, because in that case using a computer would be beneficial, try your best to get a pen and a bit of paper and write it out because that's the best way to kind of revise exam technique. One of the best things for when you need to memorise something is to say it out loud. This works for if you're needing to learn a French speaking, for example, in which case saying it out loud is one of the best ways to ingrain it in your memory, or even just if you're needing to learn statistics, sometimes just sitting and saying them over and over again or saying them in a funny voice can make all the difference in helping you memorise them. When you're coming closer to exams or even prelims, the best thing to do are past paper questions. This is because the SQA often reuse content and questions. Therefore, if you do one from the past few years, it'll give you a great idea of what could be in the exam and what kind of technique to use to answer these questions. The marking schemes and these past papers can all be found on the SQA website. This won't be a popular one, but one of the best things to do is revise what you're worst at. If you revise what you're best at, you're probably already going to get good marks at it, and therefore it's not always worth your time. But if you revise something that you're not really strong in, then it'll be much more worthwhile and will be a much more effective way of getting a good mark in that question in your prelim or exam. We probably sound like a broken record at this point because I'm sure your teachers have repeated this to you over and over again, but little and often is really the best way to revise. Don't try and cram it in all in one night, it will just stress you out and tire you out. Instead, pace yourself and do as much as you can every night without being too much. Lastly, and one of the most important things, is to get a good night's sleep. It really makes all the difference if you've got the amount of energy needed to sit a prelim or exam from the night before. So please, if you can, try and make this your routine before an important test. Anyway, thank you for listening and I really hope this has helped.